The morning sun filtered through the sheer curtains of the Thompson household, casting a soft glow over the modest living room. David Thompson sat at the kitchen table, a steaming mug of coffee in hand, watching his son Charlie play with his action figures on the floor. At 10 years old, Charlie was bright and imaginative, but life had dealt him a challenging hand. 2 years ago, a tragic accident had left him paralyzed from the waist down, relying on a wheelchair for mobility. David's heart ached as he observed Charlie's determination to create an elaborate battle scene with his toys. The boy's creativity shone through as he narrated epic adventures. But David couldn't ignore the sadness that sometimes flickered in Charlie's eyes. He longed to run and play like other children but was often left watching from the sidelines. David felt a growing sense of helplessness. He wanted to do more for his son than just provide support. He wanted to bring joy back into Charlie's life. "Dad, look," Charlie exclaimed suddenly, holding up 2 action figures locked in an epic duel. "This is where Captain Valor defeats the evil robot." David smiled, pride swelling in his chest. "That's amazing, buddy. Captain Valor is quite the hero." As Charlie continued narrating his imaginative story, David's mind wandered to an idea that had been taking shape in his heart for weeks. What if he could bring something into their lives that would not only bring joy but also inspire Charlie to push beyond his limits? A companion who could encourage him to explore the world in new ways. "Charlie," David said slowly, setting down his coffee cup. "How would you feel about getting a dog?" Charlie looked up from his tower of action figures, eyes wide with surprise. "A dog, really?" "Yeah," David replied with a nod. "I think it could be great for you. A friend to play with and keep you company." Charlie's face lit up with joy as he considered the idea. "Can we get a puppy? I want one that can run fast." David chuckled at his son's enthusiasm. "We can definitely look for a puppy. But let's also think about what kind of dog would be best for you." As they discussed what kind of dog they might adopt, Charlie dreaming about playful breeds like golden retrievers or beagles, David felt hope blooming within him. Perhaps this was what they needed, a furry friend who would not only bring joy but also help Charlie feel more confident and engaged with life. The following day, David began researching local animal shelters and rescue organizations. He wanted to find a dog that would fit well into their family dynamic and be gentle with Charlie. After hours of browsing online and making phone calls, he found a nearby shelter hosting an adoption event over the weekend. "Charlie," David called excitedly as he entered the living room later that evening. "I found a place where we can go meet some dogs this Saturday." "Really?" Charlie jumped up from the floor, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Can we go see them all?" "Absolutely. We'll see which one feels like the right fit for us," David replied, feeling a rush of excitement himself. As Saturday approached, both father and son buzzed with anticipation. They spent time discussing what they would need for their new pet: food bowls, toys, and a cozy bed. David even took Charlie shopping for supplies, letting him pick out a few toys that caught his eye. When Saturday finally arrived, they set off for the shelter with hearts full of hope. The sun shone brightly as they parked in front of the modest building adorned with colorful banners announcing the adoption event. Inside, the atmosphere was lively. Families mingled with excited chatter while volunteers guided them toward rows of kennels housing dogs of all shapes and sizes. David felt a mix of nerves and excitement as he held Charlie's hand tightly. "Are you ready?" he asked as they stepped into the main area. "Yes," Charlie replied enthusiastically, his wheelchair rolling forward eagerly. As they began to walk through the shelter, each dog greeted them with wagging tails and hopeful barks. Some jumped excitedly against their kennels while others lay patiently waiting for attention. David felt drawn to each one, their energy infectious as they explored together. Then they came across a kennel housing Bella, a gentle Labrador mixed with soulful brown eyes that seemed to sparkle with personality. Bella wagged her tail furiously as soon as she saw them approach. "Look at her," Charlie exclaimed, pointing excitedly at Bella. "She's so cute." David knelt down beside the kennel and opened the door slightly so Bella could sniff his hand. The little dog eagerly leaned forward, licking David's fingers before turning her attention to Charlie. "Can we play with her?" Charlie asked breathlessly. "Let's ask," David replied, smiling at Bella's enthusiasm. After speaking with one of the shelter volunteers, they were led to an enclosed play area where they could interact with Bella more freely. As soon as they entered, Bella bounded over to Charlie's wheelchair, licking his face excitedly as if sensing their connection instantly. Charlie laughed uncontrollably while trying to wipe away Bella's slobbery kisses. "She likes me. She sure does," David said warmly, watching as Bella circled around Charlie's wheelchair before settling down beside him. In that moment, watching Bella snuggle up against Charlie, David felt something shift within him. It was as if all their hopes were coming together in this single encounter. This little dog had already brought joy into their lives in just moments, a reminder that love could come in unexpected forms. As they played together, Bella fetching toys while Charlie laughed, David knew deep down that adopting this dog was just what they needed. It was more than just giving Charlie a companion. It was about opening doors to new experiences, a chance for both father and son to grow closer together through shared adventures ahead. By the time they left the shelter later that day, with Bella happily trotting alongside them, David felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him. They had taken their first step toward healing, a journey filled with love waiting just around the corner, and he couldn't wait to see where it would lead them next. The sun shone brightly as David and Charlie made their way to the local animal shelter, the excitement palpable in the air. Charlie sat in his wheelchair, his eyes sparkling with anticipation as they approached the building adorned with colorful banners announcing the adoption event. The thought of meeting potential furry friends filled him with hope. "Do you think we'll find a puppy today?" Charlie asked, his voice brimming with enthusiasm. "I sure hope so," David replied, smiling down at his son. "Just remember, it's not just about finding a puppy, it's about finding the right dog for you." As they entered the shelter, they were greeted by cheerful volunteers and the sounds of barking dogs. The atmosphere was lively, filled with families and children eagerly exploring the rows of kennels. David felt a mix of nerves and excitement wash over him. He wanted this day to be special for Charlie. "Look at all the dogs," Charlie exclaimed, wheeling himself closer to the first kennel. A small terrier mix jumped up excitedly, wagging its tail furiously as it barked at them. "Hey there, little guy," Charlie said, leaning forward to get a better look. "You're so cute." David knelt beside him, watching as Charlie interacted with the little dog. "He seems friendly," David commented, but he could see that Charlie's attention was already shifting to another kennel further down the line. As they continued to explore, they met several dogs, each one more adorable than the last, but none seemed to spark that special connection Charlie was hoping for. Some were too hyperactive for his taste, others were shy and reserved. David could see the flicker of disappointment in Charlie's eyes as they moved from kennel to kennel. "Don't worry, buddy," David reassured him gently. "Sometimes it takes a little time to find the right match." Just then, they rounded a corner and came across a kennel housing a gentle Labrador mix named Bella. She was lying quietly on her bed, her big brown eyes watching them curiously. As soon as she saw them approach, her tail began to wag slowly. "Look at her," Charlie exclaimed, wheeling closer. "She's beautiful." David knelt down beside Bella's kennel and opened the door slightly so she could sniff his hand. Bella leaned forward eagerly, her tail wagging faster as she caught a whiff of their presence. She seemed calm yet curious, a perfect balance for Charlie. "Can we play with her?" Charlie asked breathlessly, his excitement palpable. "Let's ask," David replied, smiling at Bella's enthusiasm. After speaking with one of the shelter volunteers, they were led to an enclosed play area where they could interact with Bella more freely. As soon as they entered, Bella bounded over to Charlie's wheelchair, licking his face excitedly as if sensing their connection instantly. Charlie laughed uncontrollably while trying to wipe away Bella's slobbery kisses. "She likes me," he shouted joyfully. "She sure does," David said warmly, watching as Bella circled around Charlie's wheelchair before settling down beside him. The bond between them felt immediate and genuine, something David had hoped for when he envisioned bringing a dog into their lives. In that moment, something clicked for both Charlie and Bella. As they played together, Charlie tossing a soft toy for Bella to fetch, David felt a surge of hope swell within him. This little dog had already brought joy into their lives in just moments, a reminder that love could come in unexpected forms. "Look how fast she is," Charlie cheered as Bella raced after the toy and returned it triumphantly, tail wagging furiously. After spending some time playing together in the yard, David knelt beside Charlie and Bella. "What do you think? Is she the one?" he asked gently. Charlie's face lit up with excitement. "Yes, I want her. Can we take her home?" David smiled broadly at his son's enthusiasm. "All right then, let's make it official." They returned inside to finalize the adoption paperwork while Bella sat patiently beside them, her head resting on Charlie's lap as if she already knew she belonged there. Once everything was signed and finalized, David felt an overwhelming sense of joy wash over him as they prepared to leave with their new family member. "Welcome home, Bella," he said softly as he attached her leash and led her outside into the sunlight. As they walked back to their car, Charlie wheeling himself alongside them while Bella trotted happily at his side, David couldn't help but feel that this was just the beginning of something beautiful. They had found not just a pet but a companion who would bring joy and healing into their lives. Once home, David helped Charlie settle into his room while Bella explored her new surroundings. She sniffed every corner of the house, taking in all the new scents, and occasionally returning to check on Charlie as if ensuring he was never alone. "Do you want to show her your toys?" David suggested after a while. Charlie nodded eagerly and began pulling out action figures from his collection. He introduced each one to Bella like they were old friends. "This is Captain Valor. He fights evil robots," he said animatedly while holding up an action figure. Bella tilted her head curiously at each toy before giving them a gentle sniff. It was clear she was intrigued by this new world unfolding before her. As evening fell and they settled down for dinner together, Charlie sharing stories about his day while Bella lay contentedly at his feet, David felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him. This little dog had already transformed their home into a place filled with laughter and love once more. That night as David tucked Charlie into bed, Bella curling up next to him, he knew deep down that adopting Bella was not just about bringing home a pet. It was about opening doors to new experiences, a chance for both father and son to grow closer together through shared adventures ahead. And as he turned off the light and closed the door behind him, David couldn't wait to see where this journey would lead them next, a journey filled with hope waiting just around every corner. As the weeks passed, Bella quickly became a vital part of Charlie's life, transforming not only his daily routine but also his perspective on what he could achieve. The bond between them deepened, and David watched in awe as Bella encouraged Charlie to engage more actively in both play and therapy. One sunny afternoon, David set up a small obstacle course in the backyard using cones, soft mats, and small ramps. He wanted to challenge Charlie while also making it fun. "Are you ready to try this, champ?" he asked, a hint of excitement in his voice. Charlie looked at the course with a mix of determination and apprehension. "Can Bella help me?" he asked, glancing at the eager dog who was already wagging her tail in anticipation. "Absolutely. Bella will be right by your side," David assured him. "Let's see what you can do together." With Bella at his side, Charlie wheeled himself to the starting line. "On your mark, get set, go," David called out, and Charlie pushed forward with all his might. Bella dashed ahead, encouraging him with joyful barks as she ran alongside him. As they navigated the course together, Charlie began to gain confidence. He maneuvered around the cones and even attempted to roll up the small ramp. Bella stayed close, her presence providing encouragement that made Charlie feel braver than ever. "Good job, you're doing it," David cheered as he watched Charlie make it halfway up the ramp. With Bella nudging him from behind, Charlie pushed himself harder and finally made it to the top. "I did it! I did it!" he shouted triumphantly, throwing his arms up in celebration. "Yes, you did it!" David cheered, rushing over to celebrate this small but significant victory. After several rounds of practice, Charlie's determination only grew stronger. He began to experiment with different movements in his wheelchair, turning sharper corners and even attempting to stand up briefly with Bella's support. Each small victory filled their home with laughter and hope. One evening during therapy at home, David noticed how Bella seemed to sense when Charlie was struggling. During one session, as Charlie attempted to lift himself from his wheelchair using the armrests for support, he faltered and frustration began to creep in. "Come on, buddy, you can do it," David encouraged from across the room. With renewed determination fueled by Bella's presence beside him, her gentle nudges and supportive energy, Charlie took a deep breath and tried again. This time he managed to lift himself slightly off the seat, a small but significant victory that brought tears of pride to David's eyes. "See, you're getting stronger every day," David praised as he rushed over to celebrate this milestone with both Charlie and Bella. In addition to physical progress, David noticed that Bella had an incredible impact on Charlie's emotional well-being. The little dog provided companionship that helped alleviate feelings of loneliness and frustration that sometimes accompanied Charlie's condition. One day after school, Charlie returned home bursting with excitement. "Dad, I told my class about Bella today. They want to meet her." "That's fantastic. How did they react?" David asked curiously. "They loved her. I showed them pictures and told them how she helps me during therapy," Charlie replied animatedly. David felt a swell of pride for his son. This newfound confidence was a testament to the impact Bella had on him. "Maybe we can arrange a little visit for your friends," he suggested with a smile. Over the next few weeks, they organized a small gathering where Charlie's classmates could come over to meet Bella. On the day of the event, laughter filled their backyard as children played games while Bella happily joined in on the fun. Charlie beamed as he watched his friends interact with Bella, throwing balls for her to fetch and petting her soft fur. The joy radiating from his son warmed David's heart. This was what he had hoped for, a chance for Charlie to connect with others while building friendships. As evening fell after an incredible day filled with laughter and connection, David felt grateful for how far they had come since adopting Bella. She had opened doors for Charlie that he never thought possible, encouraging him not just physically but also emotionally. That night when they returned home after their gathering, Charlie still buzzing with excitement, David tucked him into bed while Bella curled up at his feet, a comforting presence that reminded them both that love could conquer even life's toughest challenges. And as David turned off the light and closed the door behind him, he knew deep down that this journey wasn't just about physical progress, it was also about emotional resilience, the strength they would find together through every challenge faced along the way. That night when they returned home after their gathering, Charlie still buzzing with excitement, David tucked him into bed while Bella curled up at his feet, a comforting presence that reminded them both that love could conquer even life's toughest challenges. And as David turned off the light and closed the door behind him, he knew deep down that this journey wasn't just about physical progress, it was also about emotional resilience, the strength they would find together through every challenge faced along the way. As summer faded into autumn, the Thompson household was filled with a sense of hope and determination. Charlie was making remarkable progress in his therapy sessions, thanks in large part to Bella's unwavering support. However, as with any journey, challenges began to emerge that tested their resolve. One afternoon, David set up a therapy session in the living room, determined to help Charlie build strength and confidence. They had been working on upper body exercises that would allow Charlie to shift his weight more easily and eventually help him stand with support. Bella lay nearby, watching attentively as David encouraged Charlie to push himself. "Okay, buddy, let's try that again," David said, kneeling beside Charlie's wheelchair. "Remember to engage your core and use your arms to lift yourself." Charlie nodded, determination etched on his face. He took a deep breath and attempted to shift his weight from the wheelchair onto the mat beside him. But this time, he struggled more than usual. His hands slipped slightly, and frustration crept into his expression. "I can't do it," Charlie exclaimed, his voice tinged with disappointment. David felt a pang in his heart as he saw the frustration in his son's eyes. "You can do this, Charlie. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's part of learning," he reassured him gently. Bella sensed Charlie's distress and moved closer, nudging his arm with her nose. "Come on, Bella," Charlie said weakly. "I don't think I can." David watched as Bella leaned against Charlie's wheelchair, offering her warmth and support. "Look at Bella," he said softly. "She believes in you. Let's take it one step at a time." With renewed focus, Charlie took a deep breath and tried again. This time, he felt Bella's presence beside him, her gentle encouragement reminding him that he wasn't alone in this struggle. Slowly but surely, he shifted his weight again, using all his strength to pull himself onto the mat. "I'm doing it," he shouted triumphantly as he finally managed to slide onto the floor beside Bella. "Yes, you did it," David cheered as he rushed over to celebrate this small but significant victory. But as they continued their practice over the next few weeks, David noticed that Charlie was becoming increasingly frustrated with his progress, or lack thereof. There were days when Charlie would excel during therapy sessions and others when it felt like he was moving backward instead of forward. One evening after a particularly challenging day at therapy where Charlie had struggled to complete even the simplest exercises, he sat quietly in his wheelchair at the dinner table. David could sense something was off. Charlie was unusually quiet and withdrawn. "Hey buddy," David said gently as he placed a plate of spaghetti in front of him. "How was therapy today?" Charlie shrugged, pushing his food around on his plate without enthusiasm. "It was okay," he replied softly. David leaned closer, concern growing in his chest. "Just okay. You know it's all right to have tough days. I don't think I'm getting any better," Charlie admitted, tears welling in his eyes. "Bella helps me so much, but I still can't do what I want." David felt a lump form in his throat as he listened to his son's words. He wanted nothing more than to ease Charlie's pain but knew that sometimes facing challenges head-on was part of the journey. "Charlie," David said softly but firmly, "progress isn't always linear. There will be ups and downs along the way. It doesn't mean you're not improving." "But I want to run and play like everyone else," Charlie cried out, frustration spilling over into tears. David reached across the table and took Charlie's hand gently. "I know you do," he said compassionately. "And you will get there, one step at a time." That night after dinner, David decided they needed a change of pace, a way to lift Charlie's spirits and remind him of all the joy Bella had brought into their lives. He suggested they take Bella for a walk around the neighborhood. "Let's go for an adventure," David announced cheerfully as they prepared to head outside. Charlie hesitated for a moment but then nodded slowly. "Okay, but can we let Bella run?" "Absolutely. Let's find a nice spot where she can play," David replied with enthusiasm. As they wheeled down the street with Bella trotting happily beside them, her tail wagging energetically, David felt a sense of hope returning to their family dynamic. They reached a nearby park where there was an open field perfect for letting Bella run free. "All right, time for some fun," David exclaimed as they arrived at the park. He helped Charlie position himself so he could throw a ball for Bella to fetch. With each throw, each joyful bark from Bella, Charlie began to smile again. Laughter bubbled up from deep within him as he watched her race after the ball with uncontainable energy. "Go get it, Bella," Charlie cheered each time she dashed off into the grass. After several rounds of fetch and laughter filled the air around them, David felt grateful for this moment of peace amidst their struggles. As evening fell and they headed home, exhausted but happy, David tucked Charlie into bed while Bella curled up at his feet, a comforting presence that reminded them both that love could conquer even life's toughest challenges. The next day brought new opportunities for growth as they resumed therapy sessions together, Charlie pushing through challenges while Bella provided motivation through every step taken along this journey toward healing. A journey filled with love waiting just around every corner. After several rounds of fetch and laughter filled the air around them, David felt grateful for this moment of peace amidst their struggles. As evening fell and they headed home, exhausted but happy, David tucked Charlie into bed while Bella curled up at his feet, a comforting presence that reminded them both that love could conquer even life's toughest challenges. The next day brought new opportunities for growth as they resumed therapy sessions together, Charlie pushing through challenges while Bella provided motivation through every step taken along this journey toward healing. A journey filled with love waiting just around every corner. And as David turned off the light and closed the door behind him that night, he knew deep down that no matter what obstacles lay ahead, they would face them together, with hope guiding their way forward toward brighter tomorrows filled with laughter and love. As autumn settled in, the Thompson household buzzed with anticipation. The leaves had turned brilliant shades of red and gold, and with the change of season came a new idea that had been forming in David's mind. He wanted to create an event that would not only celebrate Charlie's progress but also raise awareness about accessibility for children with disabilities. It was time to bring the community together. One evening, as they sat together in the living room, David shared his vision with Charlie. "What do you think about organizing a community event at the park?" he asked, leaning forward in his chair. "We could invite families from your school and the neighborhood to come together for a fun day." "Like a party?" Charlie asked, his eyes lighting up with excitement. "Exactly. We could have games, food, and maybe even a little demonstration of what you've been working on with Bella," David suggested. Charlie's face broke into a wide grin. "And we can have a dog show. Bella could show off her tricks." "That's a fantastic idea," David replied, feeling inspired by his son's enthusiasm. "We can invite everyone to bring their pets and have some fun contests." Over the next few weeks, David worked tirelessly to plan the event. He reached out to local businesses for donations, food, prizes for contests, and supplies for games. He also contacted the community center to reserve a space at the park and spread the word through flyers and social media. As the event day approached, excitement buzzed through Maplewood. Charlie helped with preparations, creating colorful posters that advertised their Pause for Progress event. He felt a sense of purpose as he watched his ideas come to life. On the day of the event, the sun shone brightly in a clear blue sky as families began to arrive at the park. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and the sounds of children playing. Charlie wheeled himself around, proudly showing Bella off to everyone who would listen. "Look at Bella," he exclaimed to another child who approached them. "She helps me every day." Bella basked in the attention, performing tricks that Charlie had taught her, rolling over, playing dead, and even fetching balls thrown by excited kids. The bond between them was evident. Bella seemed to thrive on Charlie's energy and joy. As afternoon turned into evening, it was time for the dog show. Families gathered around a makeshift stage where David stood ready to announce each contestant. "Welcome everyone to our first ever Pause for Progress dog show," he called out enthusiastically. Charlie beamed with pride as he watched Bella take center stage alongside other dogs from the neighborhood. They showcased their talents, jumping through hoops, performing tricks, and even participating in a friendly race across the grass. When it was Bella's turn, Charlie wheeled himself forward confidently. "This is Bella. She can do lots of tricks," he announced proudly. The crowd cheered as Bella performed flawlessly, rolling over on command and fetching a ball tossed by Charlie. The joy radiating from both boy and dog was infectious. Everyone clapped and cheered them on. After several rounds of performances, David gathered everyone together once more for awards. "Thank you all for participating. Every dog here is a winner," he said with enthusiasm. "But we do have some special awards based on today's performances." He handed out ribbons for categories like Best Trick, Most Energetic, and Best Team. When it came time for the final award, Best Bond, David looked at Charlie and Bella with pride shining in his eyes. "And this award goes to Charlie and Bella," he announced, holding up a shiny ribbon adorned with gold stars. Charlie's face lit up with joy as he wheeled forward to accept his award. Bella barked happily beside him as they received cheers from their friends and neighbors. "I couldn't have done it without you, Bella," Charlie exclaimed, hugging her tightly. As evening fell and families began packing up their things after an incredible day filled with laughter and connection, David felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over him. This event had not only raised awareness but also fostered community spirit, a reminder that they were not alone in their journey. As they headed home that night, Charlie clutching his ribbon proudly while Bella trotted beside him, David knew deep down that this was just the beginning of something beautiful. They had created connections that would last beyond this day, a network of support that would help them navigate challenges together moving forward. In that moment, surrounded by love and laughter, David realized how far they had come since adopting Bella. She had transformed not only Charlie's life but also their family dynamic, bringing hope where there had once been uncertainty. And as they settled down together at home that night, Bella curling up next to Charlie while David tucked him into bed, he felt grateful for every step taken along this journey toward healing. A journey where love blossomed anew amid life's challenges, a journey that would continue unfolding before them like an open road filled with possibilities waiting just around every corner. As the leaves continued to fall and the air turned crisp, the Thompson household felt a renewed sense of purpose. The success of the Pause for Progress event had not only brought the community together but had also inspired Charlie to push himself further in his therapy. With Bella by his side, he was more determined than ever to make progress. One chilly Saturday morning, David decided it was time for a new challenge. "How about we try something different today?" he suggested while they were having breakfast. "I've been thinking we could go to the community center for some adaptive sports activities." They have a program for kids with disabilities. Charlie's eyes widened with excitement. Really? What kind of sports? They have wheelchair basketball, adaptive cycling, and even swimming, David explained, watching as Charlie's enthusiasm grew. I thought it might be fun for you to try something new with Bella cheering you on. Can Bella come with us? Charlie asked eagerly. Of course, she can be your mascot, David replied with a smile. After breakfast, they bundled up and headed out to the community center. As they arrived, Charlie felt a mix of nerves and excitement. The building was buzzing with activity, children were laughing and playing in various areas, and the atmosphere was filled with energy. Once inside, they were greeted by friendly staff who explained the different activities available that day. Charlie's eyes lit up as he saw other kids in wheelchairs playing basketball on one side of the gym. Can I try that? He asked, pointing excitedly. Absolutely, one of the staff members said, guiding them toward the court. We'll get you set up with a chair and some practice shots. David helped Charlie transfer into an adaptive basketball wheelchair, which was specially designed for mobility and speed. As Charlie adjusted to his new chair, Bella sat beside him, her tail wagging in encouragement. Ready to show them what you've got? David asked, giving Charlie a reassuring smile. With a determined nod, Charlie wheeled himself onto the court where other kids were already playing. He felt a rush of adrenaline as he picked up a basketball and took aim at the hoop. Go for it, David cheered from the sidelines. Charlie took a deep breath and shot the ball toward the hoop. It missed but bounced off the backboard and rolled back to him. Undeterred, he tried again, and this time, it swooshed through the net. I did it, I scored, Charlie shouted in disbelief as laughter and cheers erupted from his new friends on the court. Bella barked happily, joining in on the celebration as she raced around Charlie's wheelchair. Encouraged by his success, Charlie played on, his confidence growing with each shot he made. After an hour of basketball fun, they took a break to hydrate and regroup. Charlie was flushed with excitement, he couldn't believe how much fun he had just experienced. That was amazing, he said breathlessly as he sipped water. Can we do that again? David nodded enthusiastically. Of course, and there's still more to try today. Next, they moved outside to where adaptive bicycles were set up. Staff members helped Charlie transfer onto a specially designed bike that allowed him to pedal using his arms instead of legs. Are you ready? David asked as they adjusted the straps to secure him safely in place. Yes, let's go, Charlie exclaimed, determination shining in his eyes. With Bella trotting alongside him, Charlie began pedaling down a gentle slope. The wind rushed past him as he gained speed, it felt exhilarating to be moving so freely. Laughter bubbled up from deep within him as Bella kept pace beside him, her ears flapping in the breeze. This is so cool, Charlie shouted joyfully as he rode around in circles on the flat path designated for adaptive cycling. After several laps around the track, each one filled with laughter and encouragement, Charlie finally slowed down and came to a stop beside David. I can't believe I did that. It felt like flying. David grinned widely at his son's excitement. You're doing incredible things today. I'm so proud of you. Finally, they made their way to the swimming pool area where adaptive swimming lessons were taking place. Although Charlie had been nervous about trying swimming due to his condition, he felt emboldened by his earlier successes that day. With Bella resting contentedly by their bags on a nearby bench, her presence always providing comfort, Charlie donned his swim gear and stepped into the shallow end of the pool with David by his side. Just take your time, David encouraged as they entered the water together. You've got this. With gentle guidance from an instructor who specialized in adaptive swimming techniques, Charlie began practicing floating and kicking while holding onto a flotation device. At first, he struggled but soon found his rhythm, his laughter echoing through the pool area as he splashed playfully in the water. I'm swimming, Charlie exclaimed joyfully as he floated on his back for the first time, feeling weightless and free. As they wrapped up their day filled with new experiences, David couldn't help but feel grateful for how far they had come since adopting Bella. She had not only transformed Charlie's life but also opened doors to new opportunities for growth and connection within their community. On their way home that evening, Charlie still buzzing with excitement while Bella curled up at his feet, David reflected on how much this journey had changed them all. They had faced challenges together but had also celebrated countless victories along the way, a testament to resilience fueled by love and companionship. As they settled down together at home that night, Charlie clutching his favorite action figure while Bella lay beside him, David knew deep down that this journey was only beginning. There would be more adventures ahead filled with laughter and love waiting just around every corner. And as he turned off the light and closed the door behind him, he felt hopeful about what tomorrow would bring. A new day filled with possibilities waiting just beyond their doorstep, a journey where love blossomed anew amid life's challenges, a journey that would continue unfolding before them like an open road inviting them forward into brighter tomorrows ahead.